once you've worked out all of the different terms of agreement, you have at this point what I call mutual promises. I promise to do this, you promise to do that. It should be very clear. At that point, you can move into the next quadrant. And the third quadrant is called deliver. Deliver is where you actually deliver on the promises. You do what it is you said you were going to do. This is where you execute on the agreement itself. In America, we say it's where the rubber meets the road. It's the action, right? On a date, this is where the two of you actually go to the movie, right? You enjoy the meal. Hopefully you enjoyed the meal. Hopefully the conversation is great. In business, this is where you actually manufacture. This is where you package. This is where you ship, where you deliver. This is where you invoice. This is where you write the policy. This is where you do your support following. This is where you do your training. This is where you actually deliver. I put this in red for a reason, because this is also where the breakdowns tend to show up. Anything that was unanticipated, it's during the actual delivery. Oops, hey, I didn't count on that. Gee, we didn't expect this to happen. For example, you and your date might have decided that you were going to stand in line and wait to get the movie tickets. But when you got there, it was raining. You don't realize it was going to be raining until you're actually in the delivery quadrant. And then you realize, hey, this is a wet date. Not the kind of wet I was hoping for. Different kind of wet. Right? You know, you might realize here that, you know, the whole movie long, our stomachs were going rawr, 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 grumbling because we'd agreed to eat after the movie. Not so smart. Couldn't enjoy the movie that much. Right? From a business standpoint, this is also where the breakdowns occur. Have you ever heard the expression where people say, oh, I'm so busy? And you say, what are you busy with? I'm putting out fires. That expression, I'm putting out fires, means something has happened in the deliver quadrant that you didn't count on. You didn't anticipate. And by the way, if that happens, what do you need to do? Oh, breakdown. You need to go right back to this quadrant and explore. Okay, something happened that we didn't anticipate. What are the consequences? What are the options? What new action could we take right now? And then you make a new agreement about, okay, we're going to do this, you're going to do that. And then you go right back into deliver until it works successfully. Now, if I drew this in a linear fashion, if I had drawn this out today as explore, agree, deliver, a lot of people would say that's the step. Those are the steps. Explore, agree, deliver. Then what do? Go back and explore with somebody else. Make a new agreement, deliver. Then what do? Go back with somebody else. Sell, write the contract, deliver. Bum, bum, bum. But because of the way I've drawn this, you can clearly see that something else is still missing. There's a fourth quadrant here. And this fourth quadrant, I put in green, and I call this assure. A-S-S-U-R-E. Assure. The assure quadrant is where you follow up. The assure quadrant is where you check to see whether or not both parties are indeed satisfied with what it is that they had explored and agreed to do. Did the delivery actually do it? And there are three things you need to explore. Number one, did we do what we said we were going to do? Did we actually execute according to our plan? Or did something occur during execution that prevented us from doing what it is that we had agreed? Number one. Number two, even if we did what we said we were going to do, did it achieve the result that we had intended to achieve? Sometimes you can do exactly what it is that we'd agreed, but it didn't actually produce the result that you wanted in the first place. And the third thing you want to check for is, did we learn anything about going through this process together that would enable us the next time around to do an even better job? So for example, on the personal side, the two of you might realize, hey, next time we really should buy the tickets before the movie rather than wait in line. Or if we do this again, why don't we have dinner first and go to the late movie? You actually are improving here step by step. From a business standpoint, this is where all of your surveys are. This is where your questionnaires, your interviews, your customer visits, this is all part of your follow-up. We call that solicited feedback because you go out and you solicit it. You look for it. You bring it in. This is also where your unsolicited feedback is. This is where your complaints and your compliments appear. This is where the word of mouth about you goes out into the world. Now, I put this in green because if you do a good job here, I say this is one of the most fertile quadrants in business. If you do a good job, it can lead you right back into explore. For example, as you're having a conversation with your date, the day after, you're assuring, you made a telephone call. You could be chatting. What'd you think of the movie? Yeah. Gosh, the food there was good, but the service was horrible. Let's not go there next time. By the way, what are you doing next Saturday night? And so a good assure brings you right back here. Guys, if you want to do a really good assure, this is not just a phone call. After the date, you could write a little note. And if you really want to assure, you can send flowers. Guys in the room are still, huh? The ladies are hopeful. Each time you go through these 4 steps successfully, you build something between the two parties. Each time you successfully complete an exploration, an agreement, a delivery, and a good assurance, what gets built in the center of these two is TRUST, trust. Now let me pause and ask you to take a look at the situations you wrote down in business, at work, and in your personal life. And I want you to look at these 4 quadrants and answer the following questions. In which quadrant are you strongest? In which quadrant do you do a really good job? And in which quadrant do you see the biggest opportunity for improvement? Which of these 4 quadrants is the one that's really crying out and saying, hey, we should put more attention here? Let me give you a few minutes. Talk with your learning partner. Share some notes and ideas. See what you come up with. You've got 2 minutes. Now, take a moment here to think. Where are you strongest in your interactions? And where do you have the biggest opportunity to improve? I suggest you talk about this openly with your colleagues. You may find they have very different points of view than you do. But don't try to convince each other. Instead, use this as an opportunity to listen and understand why they see the world and have a different opinion than you do. When you're ready, we'll start the program again and continue.